Pauline, Belli, and the Naughty Rabbit by Lorena Vázquez. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Pauline Belli. She was on the way to see her uncle Chris Blunder when she decided to take a shortcut through Steenville Forest. It wasn't long before Pauline got lost. She looked around, but all she could see were trees. Nervously, she felt into her bag for her favorite toy dolly. But Dolly was nowhere to be found. Pauline began to panic. She felt sure she had packed Dolly. To make matters worse, she was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, she saw a naughty rabbit dressed in a purple jacket disappearing into the trees. How odd, thought Pauline. For the want of anything better to do, she decided to follow the peculiarly dressed rabbit. Perhaps it could tell him the way out of the forest. Eventually, Pauline reached a clearing. In the clearing were two houses, one made from carrots and one made from sweets. Pauline could feel her tummy rumbling. Looking at the houses did nothing to ease her hunger. "Hello," she called. "Is anybody there?" Nobody replied. Pauline looked at the roof on the closest house and wondered if it would be rude to eat somebody else's chimney. Obviously, it could be impolite to eat a whole house, but perhaps it could be considered acceptable to nibble the odd fixture or lick the odd fitting in a time of need. A cackle broke through the air, giving Pauline a fright. A witch jumped into the space in front of the houses. She was carrying a cage. In that cage was Dolly. "Dolly!" shouted Pauline. She turned to the witch. "That's my toy!" The witch just shrugged. "Give Dolly back!" cried Pauline. "Not on your Nelly," said the witch. "At least let Dolly out of that cage." Before she could reply, the naughty rabbit in the purple jacket rushed in front of footpath on the other side of the clearing. "Hello, big rabbit," said the witch. "Good morning." The rabbit noticed Dolly. "Who is this?" "That's Dolly," explained the witch. "Oh, Dolly would look lovely in my house. Give it to me," demanded the rabbit. The witch shook her head. "Dolly is staying with me." Excuse me," Pauline interrupted. "Dolly lives with me and not in a cage." Big Rabbit ignored her. "Is there nothing you'll trade?" he asked the witch. The witch thought for a moment, then said, "I do like to be entertained. I'll realize him to anybody who can eat a whole front door." Big Rabbit looked at the house made from sweets and said, "No problem. I could eat an entire house made from sweets if I wanted to." "There's no need to show off," said the witch. "Just eat one front door and I'll let you have Dolly." Pauline watched, feeling very worried. She didn't want the witch to give Dolly to Big Rabbit. She didn't think Dolly would like living with her naughty rabbit away from her house and all her other toys. Big Rabbit put on his bib and withdrew a knife and fork from his pocket. "I'll eat this whole house," said Big Rabbit. "Just you watch." Big Rabbit pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from sweets. He gulped it down smiling, and went back for more, and more, and more. Eventually, Big Rabbit started to get bigger, just a little bit bigger at first, but after a few more forkfuls of sweets, he grew to the size of a large snowball, and he was every bit as round. I don't feel too good," said Big Rabbit. Suddenly he started to roll. He'd grown so round that he could no longer balance. "Help!" he cried as he rolled off down a slope into the forest. Big Rabbit never finished eating the front door made from sweets, and Dolly remained trapped in the witch's cage. "That's it," said the witch. "I win. I get to keep Dolly." "Not so fast," said Pauline. "There's still one front door to go. The front door of the house made from carrots, and I haven't had a turn yet." "I don't have to give you a turn," laughed the witch. "My game, my rules." The woodcutter's voice carried through the forest. "I think you should give her a chance. It's only fair." "Fine," said the witch. "But you saw what happened to the rabbit. She won't last long." "I'll be right back," said Pauline. "What?" said the witch. Where's your sense of impatience? I thought you wanted Dolly back." Pauline ignored the witch and gathered a hefty pile of sticks. She came back to the clearing and started a small campfire. Carefully, she broke off a piece of the door of the house made from carrots and tossed it over the fire. Once it had cooked and cooled just a little, she took a bite. She quickly devoured the whole piece. Pauline sat down on a nearby log. "You fell," caked the witch. "You were supposed to eat the whole door." "I haven't finished," explained Pauline. "I'm just waiting for my food to go down." When Pauline's food had digested, she broke off another piece of the door made from carrots. Once more, she toasted her food over the fire and waited for it to cool just a little. She ate it at a leisurely pace, then waited for it to digest. Eventually, after several sittings, Pauline was down to the final piece of the door made from carrots. Carefully, she toasted it and allowed it to cool just a little. She finished her final course. Pauline had eaten the entire front door of the house made from carrots. The witch stamped her foot angrily. You must have tricked me, she said. I don't reward cheating. I don't think so, said a voice. It was the woodcutter. He walked back into the clearing, carrying his eggs. This little girl won fair and square. Now hand over Dolly, or I will chop your broomstick in half. The witch looked horrified. She grabbed her broomstick and placed it behind her. Then, huffing, she opened the door of the cage. Pauline hurried over and grabbed Dolly, checking that her favorite toy was all right. Fortunately, Dolly was unharmed. Pauline thanked the woodcutter, grabbed a quick souvenir, and hurried on to meet Chris. It was starting to get dark. When Pauline got to Chris' house, her uncle threw his arms around her. "I was so worried," cried Chris. "You are very late." As Pauline described her day, she could tell that Chris didn't believe her, so she grabbed a napkin from her pocket. "What's that?" asked Chris. Pauline unwrapped a doorknob made from sweets. "Pudding!" she said. Chris almost fell off his chair. The end.